Hello, friends, and welcome to Activate and Thrive and to our weekly Thriving Thursday chat. We've been away on health and wellness business for a couple of weeks, and we were sharing rebroadcasts of these chats, but we're very happy to be back live again today. We run these chats almost always live every Thursday at noon Eastern US time, and we chat with different beautiful health-minded health and wellness minded people about just many different aspects of health and wellness. So look for these each Thursday at noon Eastern time. And we're very happy that you're joining us today, either here live on Facebook on Thursday or watching on YouTube or Instagram later. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Don.
And I'm Mia. And our guest today is Kim Jakes. And Kim has been a wellness professional since 1999, long time. Over the years, she's had a private practice and she's founded a community wellness clinic in her hometown in Maine. She's now living with her husband, Jeff, as a digital nomad. They are moving to Japan as soon as they can to reunite with their son once the borders reopen. And she plans to go to school to learn Japanese for 2 years, while continuing to grow her entrepreneurial wellness business, which is how our paths connected, because we're all a part of the same mission. And she's grateful for the flexibility that this opportunity has given her and her husband, Jeff. And isn't that really what it's all about? What people want, to have the freedom to choose to live their lives that the way that they want, that unites their purpose in life with their values and supports that lifestyle. And right now she's in North Carolina. Spent a little time on the beach yesterday. See that nice radiant color there. She got her vitamin D fix. So anyway, Kim, welcome. We are so thrilled to have you on our platform today.
Welcome, Kim. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Mia. It's been absolutely a joy to get to know you, the two of you, over the years, and to be able to partner with you and in educating, expanding educational awareness around how people have the ability built into their bodies in order to activate and thrive.
Beautiful. Well, we wanted to talk with you today about making committing to strategies and choices for living a healthy lifestyle. It's so important to live that kind of lifestyle. And wondering what your journey was, going back, were you always committed to a healthy lifestyle, or was there a time when it wasn't much in your thought and something happened in your life that made you steer into that direction? Yeah. So where does your journey start?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I was really fortunate in that I grew up in a household where my mom really had to take the bull by the horn and support our family by navigating alternative care before there was such a thing. My sister was born relatively unhealthy, and the allopathic system just wasn't providing the solutions that we were looking for. And my mom was bold enough to be able to be adventurous and explore things. So I was brought up in that mindset. My godmother helped me plant my first herb garden when I was 13 years old. It was in the family. But it was really when I was 18 years old and I decided to start taking a certain medication that many teenage girls begin to take. And 3 months later, I found myself in the hospital, having had a blood clot in my brain, a major stroke, unable to speak, unable to move the right hand side of my body.
Mm-hmm. A stroke at 18. Wow. My goodness.
Mm-hmm. And the doctors were really excited to provide their solutions. Right? I was alive. Great solution. But they also had long-term solutions for me that included taking medications that I was going to have to continue to test my liver because my liver was going to not do well with these medications, right? And that just didn't seem like a good long-term solution to an 18-year-old who had grown up in a household who was all kind of geared to look for other solutions. So it was just natural for me to say, thank you. I'm glad I'm alive because I wouldn't be otherwise. And I'm thanking you for the crutch that you're temporarily providing me. But I'm going to figure this out. Like, we're going to figure out how to get off these medications, get my brain scans clear, reorganize my health. Because it just makes sense, right? You break your finger, your body knows how to heal it. Why it didn't make sense to me that this injury would be any different. Like, we witness the body's ability to heal itself routinely, and we take it for granted. It's a miracle that our body
Yeah.
knows how to do all of this, and we take it for granted. And for me, it was just a natural connection of, well, if my body knows how to do that, then it will know how to do this. You don't know how to help me do that, so I need to go find some people who might be able to help. And a couple of years into it, I was off all the medications, and everything was back to
And
So
wow.
to rewind briefly, what was there resistance when your mom sought alternative means, because it was a time when one really didn't, with your sister? What was
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
that journey like, as far as, you know?
Well, it's not that much different than it is now, right? Like, I mean, granted, we have words for alternative care, integrative wellness. But even if we look at the practitioners out there, the doctors who are doing integrative wellness, they're still on the fringes, right? So I think it was just it was a time in which that has not changed much, in which your allopathic doctor, when you present to them what you're doing, scratches their head, says, well, I don't understand it, but it seems like it's working. So I can't control. I would rather you do what I understand, but since you're not, and it seems like it's working, I'll be a cheerleader bystander on the side. So it's no different now than it really was then.
I wonder why they don't see that and then become a little curious sometimes. Maybe they do sometimes.
I think some do.
Some do become curious,
Well,
but sometimes
some
Yeah.
do, but really, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a system in which they're groomed to become specialists.
Mm.
So
Right.
it's a specialist, and if you're going to be really good at being a specialist, you need to give up being a generalist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything bad or anything that they could or should do. Some people are just naturally kind of gravitated toward that in their own spare time. But being a doctor is very labor intensive, is very time intensive, is intensive on your family. So, I certainly celebrate all doctors for what they're doing in the way that they're doing it.
Right.
And don't want to take away from the value that they bring in the way that they bring.
Absolutely.
And I do get excited that at least there's a word for integrative care or
Mhm.
alternative care, but that's
So when
not
we
much
chatted before, I'm sorry, I'm hogging all the questions. You want to ask something?
No, it's okay. It's all about physician, heal thyself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we really have to become our own physicians in a way, and it's not that we want to take away from those that have trained for years to do what they do, but we're finding out there's so much that isn't taught in that whole experience. So, yeah.
So when you were 18, when we chatted before we came on here live, you said that you were willing to go somewhat with what they were saying, but you knew that you wouldn't continue that. So you got on a different regimen that took you to where you are today.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. Yeah.
And
No,
what-
and it was lifestyle, nutrition, um, body cranial sacral therapy was really important for my cranium realignment and brain scan clearings, and then just really focusing on dietary and lifestyle patterns that reduce inflammation and that allow the body to be able to do what it knows how to do. And fortunately, I was 18 years old. So, a lot of those mechanisms were just waiting to
Right.
jump into play. Whereas, an 80-year-old needs a lot more boosting to have some of those inner healing mechanisms hop to the races.
Yeah, we don't want to be in that reactive mode. We want to really know how to optimize our health at an early stage. And it's never too late, but we definitely want to be preventative about our care.
Well, so that's a good way to pivot to talking about helping people know how they can, like, who doesn't want, if you say, hey, do you want to lead a healthy lifestyle? Who's going to say, no, thanks. I'd like to perish early. I mean, everybody wants to lead a healthy lifestyle in concept, but sometimes being able to have the strength to make the right choices, having any idea what the right choices are, and then how to kind of strategize how you're going to maintain that over the long term. Can you speak about this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we'd like to say that everybody would like to have a healthier lifestyle, but in reality, I have actually heard people say, no, why would I want to do that? So there is that fringe out there, right? And then there's the fringe that's more like where I am, which I just obsess over living a healthy lifestyle and I love it. And then the vast majority, I feel like really are wanting to have a healthier lifestyle, but it needs to fit within simplicity and convenience. How many times have people said, I am going to start food prepping on Sunday, right? And then
Right.
Sunday comes and Sunday goes, dang, I didn't do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or, I'm going to start the New Year's resolutions kick in and here we go. And they last 3 weeks. So I'm a very big advocate on just meeting reality where it is and helping people to understand how they can fit wellness lifestyle activities into a rhythm that feels really convenient and simple for them. And there's a vast number of ways that you can do it, but I think first and foremost, really admitting that, those extreme things that we try to do for a hot second and then we fall off the wagon and we feel shame and blame, that cycle really isn't fun. So the first thing I like to do is really kind of get to the meat of we're not doing that. We are going to be looking at developing a lifestyle that you love that just happens to really help you feel amazing too. Because people are
Yeah.
very much motivated about how you feel now versus how you're going to feel 10 years from now.
Oh, yeah. They don't think about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. And I mean, we all do it. And it also has to be convenient and pleasurable. Right. I mean, we all
Well,
know what are the warnings on the side of the cigarette cartons? You are going to die, but it's pleasurable right now. Right. So humans are just wired. We're wired for it needs to be simple, it needs to be convenient, and it needs to be pleasurable. And that's the space that I really like to meet people at.
Well, I think that as the very first health strategy, because even talking about the idea of a strategy can be like, really? Okay, so I have to come up with some strategy for my lifestyle. That right there is hard. But you just say the first strategy, keep it simple
Yeah.
and keep it to something that you like. How embraceable is that right away, right? I love that.
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
So what's simple?
There's different things that are simple. I like to talk to people about doing key foundational things. Number one, how do you want to feel? Like literally, how do you want to feel is an important key foundational strategy. Because if you can understand how you want to feel, and then we add in health hacks, nutritional strategies, not restrictive nutritional strategies, but enjoyable replacement nutritional strategies, maybe movement strategies, maybe some smart supplementation, some smart biohacking solutions in. And you're feeling that way. Ooh, I'm feeling that way. What motivates a human? I'm feeling good. I'm going to continue.
I'm going to build on that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the first part of it is to really identify that. Now, as an example, a very normal thing that people want to feel is they want to feel like they have enough energy to show up to their life. Right? Like I am a mom, I am a work, I have a career, I have community service, I love all these things. How do I show up to all of these things without wearing a sense of weariness or guilt, right? Like nobody likes to feel those things. So, as an example, if somebody wants to feel more energy, some of the strategies that I might use is um, looking at educating them about the biology of their energy. Because if we have an understanding, we can apply an understanding, right? And so I like to tell people that, you know, we're now going to call your energy ATP, because that's actually what it's called inside your body. You know, adenosine triphosphate is what our body creates inside our cells that we feel as energy to think, energy to move, energy to heal, energy for our organs to function. All forms of energy are actually at their essence ATP. And we call it that because I really like to talk to people about creating an ATP budget, right? Because if we have a $100 bill in our hand, we might mindfully decide how we want to spend that money. And we may decide that we want to spend some of it frivolously, but most of the time, if you give a little kid, they're going to say, I want the Lego thing with the, you know, with the bat. I don't know. There's a clear idea, $100 bill, clear idea. This is how I want to spend it. So I like to talk to people about their ATP budget and how do you want to spend it, and start to really get rid of the things that you're spending that on that aren't necessarily serving you, because comes back to how do you want to feel? I want to feel this way. Okay, well, that is not serving your mission now. So let's come back to this. And it makes it easier to say no to things, to kind of exfoliate things off that aren't necessarily serving your soul. Because that's the first step. And
what does the ATP budget start with? So the kids' budget starts with that $100 bill. What does the ATP budget start with?
Good question. It actually starts with it's individual. How much energy do you have in a day? Is different than how much energy I might have in a day.
Okay.
Right. And so that budget is actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the choices you have is to be really mindful with where you're going to spend what you have. The other component of it is to expand how much you have. Just like with money, right? You can choose, I only have this $100, I'm going to spend it this way. Or actually, I like the idea of having $100 in my pocket. I would like to go make $200 and put it in my pocket. So the ATP budget is very similar to money. I want to be mindful with how I'm spending it, and then use strategies to increase my energy. And those strategies can be really simple. I like to educate people about things that they can just make shifts with, right? Being able to do things like, and this is going to sound restrictive, but it's actually not. So hold on for a sec. Taking sugar and wheat out of your diet, right? Oh, that's restrictive. No,
I love bread, right?
Right. But we're actually going to replace it with things that like feed your cravings and your joy the same way, right? So instead of like going out and having a Dove chocolate, we might say, oh, well, I have a little package. We might say, well, we're going to have a little Lily's chocolate.
I love Lily's.
Right? So you still get the chocolate, but now you're not having the sugar and you're having the nutrients of dark chocolate. So you're still doing the same thing, but replacing it. Well, you've just elevated your ATP budget.
Okay.
Now you have more energy. Okay. Or it might be, teaching them that that fat is not evil, that eating fat has been debunked as an evil many years ago.
Yeah.
And that when we replace cravings for sugar and increase our willingness to eat healthy fats, that we get off the hangry cycle, that we are off the carbohydrate roller coaster of energy, because you have carbohydrates, you get a big spike, insulin hits, insulin takes all the energy out of the blood and puts it into cells, and then it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Whereas eating fats is a sustainable ATP budget.
Yeah, and doesn't that also influence just the whole, not just the way we physically feel, but our brain, gets fatigued and tired, and then we're not able to make those healthy choices as much, right? Because it all influences, it all works together.
Very good point. Yeah, our brain is divided up into multiple spheres, and we know that the frontal lobe of our brain is the part of our brain that's in charge of executive functioning. Fancy term for saying that part of our brain helps us make healthy choices, right? And that part of our brain actually has the highest need for energy. So it's also unnecessary, right? Like we don't have to be thinking about and creating visionary things in our life. We could just be sitting on the couch and being a couch potato. Like we could function on that biologically, we can function at that level. So when the frontal lobe of our brain does not have enough energy, ATP, right? Then we actually fall into old habits and patterns that exist in different parts of our brain. You may have experienced this before. Have you ever been really tired and like you say something that is literally something your mother would have said, and you're like, where did that come from? Right?
I think we all can raise our hand to that.
Where did that come from? Right? Or you have a goal and you have a dream, and then suddenly you fall back into old patterns that sabotage it and you fall into the shame blame cycle. Well, the reality is that we can shore ourselves up in our ability to make those healthy choices and those visionary decisions by focusing on our ATP budget and activating our ATP. And there's, transitioning from sugar to fats is one strategy. Being able to do some HIIT training. HIIT training activates your ATP production. Okay. Or I'm a big proponent of doing things that are simple and easy to do. I'm a big proponent of taking a Protandim NRF1 every day. Two of them actually. In order to be able, in order to be able to trigger your cell and your DNA's ability to support healthy energy production, healthy foundational energy production. Because, we talked a second ago, the 80-year-old isn't really primed for it the same as an 18-year-old was. As I was very fortunate to be so ill at the age of 18. But even the 80-year-old can have their body reactivated and reprimed for healthy energy production by NRF1 activation, which NRF1 activation can come within a pill. NRF1 activation can come within a HIIT training. Not many, some 80-year-olds will get up and start doing HIIT training, but it's easier to take a pill, right? And just of any age, we know that if we want to have consistent amounts of energy every day, and there's so many variables throughout, shoring up your energy with Protandim NRF1 has been foundational to my lifestyle choices.
Oh, so that's Protandim NRF1. And for those who may not know, the NRF1 pathway is a pathway in the body that's responsible for healthy mitochondrial function, which of course is the energy source of the body. I just wanted to mention that our dear loyal guest Lynn says that she just 3 weeks ago cut out sugar and wheat out of her diet, and she says she feels terrific 3 weeks later, and she's replaced it with other things. So there's a replacement rather than a restriction. So hats off to Lynn for making that choice and that strategy, and just 3 weeks later feeling so much better. So thanks, Lynn, for that contribution.
She's also activating, another pathway too, that we can talk about if you want to talk about not just the energy pathway, but the ability to get rid of the debris in our body, the garbage through another pathway.
Yeah, there's a number of pathways. Thank goodness, science has evolved to the point, and innovators like yourselves are talking about our ability to flip switches inside the DNA. And certainly there's a number of other pathways. There's one that activates sirtuin genes. Sirtuin genes the discussion around sirtuin genes really came to the forefront with a man named David Sinclair out of Australia, who's the world-renowned longevity specialist. And these sirtuin genes can be activated again, really simply in different ways. One, caloric restriction. I thought you said that was simple, Kim. Well, for me, it's simple because my mitochondria are trained to be metabolically flexible. So my body remembers how to eat fat off my hips. So I don't get hungry like the average person, right? Because it's like, oh, hungry, eat fat off hips. Or you can take a pill. And that's Protandim NAD that really triggers autophagy, that cellular cleanup, the ability to just really maintain your body in peak performance. And of course, there's Protandim NRF2 as well, which it always astounds me that we get to say this. It blows my mind that we are blessed with the ability to say this, but we are able to have influence over hundreds and hundreds of genes that together are combined and called survival genes.
I know. I know.
But
I know.
just survival? Come on, what's so important about survival?
Oh my gosh. And of course, that can be activated. You can activate that pathway through eating broccoli and things like that. But this is a powerful, precise formulation that gives us consistent, predictable results over our survival genes. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's at the core of how I want to feel. I want to feel like I'm surviving, like I have energy, like I have mental focus and clarity and can show up into my world. I believe, and I could be wrong, I'm open to being wrong, I believe that I only have one life. And I want to just savor every aspect of it. And I'm so thankful for people like you who are willing to bring these conversations to the table, because we are in a space, as we know, that having conversations around your body's ability to be autonomous in its capacity to thrive is not that is being spread about through mainstream media.
Yeah.
So, the ability and the willingness for you guys to have these conversations is beautiful. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, we thank you so much for that. I just think back 15 years ago, before I was educated about what we're doing, and I didn't feel the way I feel today 15 years ago. I would hit 2:00 in the afternoon and I wanted a nap. I wanted to crash. 15 years later, I don't take naps. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong if somebody needs to do that to reboost, but to just know that when I rest and I get the sleep that I need. And when I wake up, I'm raring to go to live my day, to start my day, to help others. And, it's just so gratifying to be able to say that. And why wouldn't we want to share that?
Well, every week we say that we don't want to bring the chat to an end.
Oh my gosh, it's that late.
every week we reach that point where we do need to, but it's been so helpful to me to hear you talk about, as I mentioned before, the first strategy being keep it simple and keep it pleasurable and desirable, because that is attractive. And so we've learned here also, particularly at the end, that we can actually choose to take command of our own DNA, basically our own survival genes. We can make choices that actually give us a better life, more longevity, more energy, more activity. And it's not difficult. It just takes saying, okay, I'm in, I want to do this. So, here at Activate and Thrive, we're working with this same health technology that Kim is talking about with these, what we call activators, activating the body to do what it's made to do with these Protandim products that upregulate the body's antioxidant production, the mitochondrial production, and then what Kim referred to as the sirtuins, our survival genes, and enables those to thrive in actually a pretty short amount of time also. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to connect you with Kim to to hear more about her story and how she can bless and benefit you. And feel free to message us or reach out to us to learn more about Protandim about making healthy choices. Kim, is there any final thing that you would like to share with our audience? If not, thank you so much for sharing with us. But is there any final piece of advice or?
Yeah, just your body is more powerful than you've been led to believe. So just choose to activate it.
That is great. That's perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kim Jakes, and also our audience today for this beautiful Thriving Thursday chat. Look for these each week on Thursday at noon, East Coast US time, on Facebook, and then later on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends.
Bye-bye.